DKT UPSC CSE। अगर आप केवल सिविल सर्विस परीक्षा के प्रीलिम्स, मेंस और इंटरव्यू के वीडियो देखना चाहते हैं तो सब्सक्राइब करें DKT UPSC CSE चैनल। यहाँ आपको टॉपर्स के वीडियो रैंक के हिसाब से अरेंज मिलेंगे। चैनल के लिंक के लिए डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में जाएं।
I'm Roja S Rajan. I have secured 108th rank in UPSC CSE 2021 and this was my second attempt and my optional was anthropology and I'm getting into the Indian Foreign Services this year. So in this video I'm going to talk in detail about Anthropology Paper 1 strategy. So when it comes to anthropology, the reasons why I chose anthropology were somewhat personal and somewhat related to the examination. So when I was looking for an optional, I was going through all the syllabuses and I found the syllabus of anthropology more interesting to me. And more than the interest, around some 50% of the content was from physical anthropology, that is closely related to biology. And since I have a really good background with biology, I decided to take up anthropology. Then when I was looking for coaching options, since I was preparing from Trivandrum, I found there were very limited options. So I thought I'll go for self-study instead of taking a coaching. So I want to focus on how you can do self-study for Anthropology Paper 1 and why you can also opt for a coaching if you think that it is necessary. In my case, it was mostly because I felt I was already going for a PCM batch and that itself will take around 4 hours of the day. And then if I'm again going for a online class or any other coaching for optional, I felt like it will drain me so that I will not be studying the whole day. I'll be just attending classes. I was planning to study at least 6 to 8 hours apart from the classes, which means I'll be completely occupied for around 12 hours and I couldn't fit in a coaching class in between. So this was the reason why I opted for self-study, and there were so much resources online available, and I also had a mentor who had given mains a couple of times, so he was also there to guide me on how to prepare and how to write answers. So I was confident in taking up anthropology through self-study, through self-study. And when it comes to how we can approach the subject, first thing what I did was, in my time, when I started preparing, it was 2019. The most popular book available was Vivek Basmi. So I had ordered a copy of Vivek Basmi and I had also ordered a copy of Braintree. Then I came to know from these toppers blogs, like Anudeep sir's blog was very much active back then. So then I was looking through the blog and making a book list of things that I have to buy. So when it comes to the optional, what I understood is that it is always best to have so much resources available so that we can always refer to these resources. And since I am a person who like to have hard copies with me than relying on soft copies, what all things I could find as a hard copy, I was ordering them from online or getting them from Delhi. So then I also got Peanut. And the first advice I got was I can start with physical anthropology because I am comfortable in that area and it is more related to science. Since my background is BTech in computer science and engineering, it will be easier for me to understand the science part of the subject. So then I started with the 9.1 to 12, those portions, but it did not go as smoothly as planned. I took more than 2-3 months to cover that physical anthropology part. Even then the notes I made, they were not perfectly suitable for writing an exam with those because I just relied on Braintree and also with Peanut. I did not do much works or I did not write answers. So these were some of the mistakes that I made in the initial part of my preparation. Later I started looking into socio-cultural anthropology. I was doing theories again from Vivek Basme sir's handwritten notes. But I was only relying on them and I did not get a proper understanding about the theories. But then since I couldn't move forward with it, I stopped socio-cultural anthropology there and I took up archaeology. When it comes to archaeology, I was doing D.K. Bhattacharya's textbook along with his YouTube videos. So that went really well and in 1 month I was able to complete archaeology. So this is something you can do, like you can split the syllabus into different sections like physical anthro, social cultural anthropology, then archaeology, then those initial portions where there is topics like evolution, fossil study, or fossil study you can link with archaeology and study. So then once you split the syllabus into different sections, and you allocate say 2 months, or 1 or 2 months each for each of the sections. So in my opinion, if you are splitting this topic in this way, if you are starting from June, then you will be able to finish the whole syllabus maybe by around January. Like in a realistic time frame, you will at least need 7 months to properly cover all the subjects, make notes, and also write answers, and be ready for the exam. It will at least take 7 months. I don't believe in the 3 months or 2 months time period. That may be possible for some, but for most of the people, it will take more time to grasp the subject, because we need to understand a brand new subject from a degree or a postgraduate level understanding, which is obviously going to take time. Okay, then again, when it comes to my anthropology paper 1 marks, I had secured I think 129 marks in paper 1. The thing is, what you can do to improve your marks, or what you can do to reach your marks in a safe range is, you need to structure and present the answer in such a way that it gets maximum visibility. So in order to reach that, you need a proper notes, because the notes will be having the content of the subject and of the topic. Suppose I'm talking about a topic like cultural relativism. So you need to prepare a note for 15 marks. So that will be 3 pages. So then in that note there will be an introduction, and there will be some body, and there will be a way forward and a conclusion. And in the body part, you have to find more thinkers than that is available in the common sources. Like you can Google and find thinkers that are not very commonly known, but still thinkers who have spoken about cultural relativism, or some case studies that has been noticed to show that cultural relativism is good or bad, or any kind of specific information you can find. If you dig a little deeper, you will get it. So make sure that these kind of specific content is there in your notes, and your notes should be very crisp and almost in tandem with the marks and the words that we'll be writing for the exam. Like suppose in my case, most of my notes would be for 15 marks or 20 marks, except for those topics. For example, Natufian culture was already asked, so I made a 10-mark content for Natufian culture and some other similar cultures and kept. So in this way, you have to make your notes so that they are very crisp, so that you can revise it easily for the just the day before the examination. And it is also easy to recollect, because in anthropology, the trend is they are asking very direct questions. Like they're simply asking Lamarckism. So they're just giving a word and asking you to write about it. And sometimes they can again go a little bit tricky. Like last year they asked animism and animism and deep ecology. So then you have to write about two concepts for 10 marks. That will be a bit tricky, because you might have had content for animism alone for 10 marks, and then they're asking two topics. Then you will have to balance it in the exam hall. But in most cases, they'll be asking questions for which you will be having ready-made answers in your notes, and you just have to replicate those in the answer sheets. So this can be done if you are having really good notes. And again, about note making, people are asking what to refer. Like there are so many materials, should we just rely on one material? What exactly should be the roadmap? So from what I understood is, initially what we need to do is, we need to understand the concept. So like for instance, if you are taking physical anthropology, first and foremost we need to understand what these topics are, and what, like if there's this topic called genetic polymorphism, you should first understand what it is. And once you have understood what it is, you will be able to create dimensions about the topic. Like you will be able to come up with dimensions, like so these dimensions will act as subheadings if this is a 10 marker. So you will give a definition for genetic polymorphism, that will be with accompanied by a thinker. So this is very important. If you are writing a definition as the introduction, make sure that it is a standard definition given by a thinker. Then you can maybe write some examples. So you can put another subheading about examples, and then you can quote those examples. Then you can again go into significance, then about limitations. If there is any case study, you can quote that case study there. So in this way, you are bringing at least 5 to 6 dimensions in a 10-mark question. And if you are able to manage it within the space given, then you will be getting above average marks. So this is one way in which you can improve your marks, and the content for this, it will be exactly how you have prepared in your note. You simply have to write it in the examination. So it will be an easy process. You don't have to think during the exam and frame answers or come up with structures for most of the questions, because in anthropology it is not like that. They are asking direct questions, like I said. So this is one thing I wanted to talk about. And so in particularly about the genetics and this biophysical anthropology part, another thing I wanted to mention is, don't stick with just PNAD or Braintree or any of the standard sources that you are referring to. Please also Google, or you just watch some YouTube videos. From there you might be seeing some PowerPoint presentation. Those might be having some unique examples or some unique points that you may not be aware of. So you can also collect these and keep in your notes. Just that the note should not be very bulky, but at the same time do go a little deeper than what is available commonly, because what is available commonly will be what everyone will be writing. So if you have to stand apart, there are two things you can do. One is your structuring and presentation should be your own unique way. Second thing is that you need content that is slightly standing out from others. By standing out, I don't mean that for every topic you are going digging deeper and you are taking days to finish one topic. That is not what I meant. But what I meant is that there should be something that you have found from the internet. And I don't believe that for any topic we'll be having content paucity. If we search in the right way, for all the topics, content is available online and we can find it. So this is what I wanted to talk about physical anthropology. And when it comes to socio-cultural anthropology, I had relied on Ubadhyay and Pandey. That is the later phase of preparation. Initially, I did Vivek Basme's notes alone, but later I also read the standard book, and so from there I got more insights. And there's also this Alabama University's website content. From there also I took content. Then I also relied on EPG materials and IGNU materials to understand structuralism, functionalism, or those grand theories in detail, because those are the theories for which there's so much content available, and we might miss a very important dimension if we are just sticking to one source. But since it is a time consuming process, you might be fretting about wasting a lot of time in theories alone. So it is better to give a time limit, say 1 month or 1.5 months, 40 days I'll be spending with theories, and during that time you can focus on covering these additional parts. So it's better not to stick to one source. It is to spread your sources and find content from all these things. Again, the same mantra applies here, that is, you have to first understand the concept and then make notes. And when you're making notes, you can find the sub dimensions, and you can you plan the note with all these contents like limitations, significance, whatever extra is there, you can prepare like that. And then another thing, when it comes to theories, recently there has been questions like liminality that is being asked. So, and I'm getting queries like, how will you deal with these kind of questions? Or should you prepare for these kind of questions and keep? So if we start preparing for all these topics, it will be very time consuming. But the thing is, bare minimum, we should be aware that these concepts have been there. So what you can do is, you can take this Thinker's Wikipedia page and read about it. And if you're finding any such topic that these thinkers have come up with, you can simply jot down them and keep, and just maybe write 1 or 2 sentences so that the next time you are reading your notes, you understand what the concept is, or you are able to recollect what the concept is. Because suppose there was a question on liminality, had you simply known what it meant, you would have been able to write something than leaving the question. But if you don't even know what it is, you can't even attempt that question. So in these cases, it is better to do the smart way, that is to just know what that concept is and which thinker it is associated with, or which topic it is associated with. Then you can you can write about it if they are asking. The other advantage of doing this exercise is, suppose there is so this topic might be related to something else, like suppose liminality is related to rites of passages. So when you are attempting a question on rites of passage, or when you are attending a question on adolescence, you can bring this dimension there. So this is one additional advantage you will get if you are going a little bit deeper and finding those concepts, those important concepts that these thinkers have contributed while they were doing the anthropological studies. And then when it comes to the other part of socio-cultural anthropology, that is marriage, kinship, family, my primary source of reference was Ved Sar's book, that is In Search of Ourselves. And after reading the book, I also went through Akshat Jain's, that topic. So most of the content from Akshat Jain that had directly come from this book. That is what I understood. Then again, I started adding content from EPG Pathshala, IGNO materials, or whatever extra resources I have been reading. I simply started adding content to these notes. So this is what I did for socio-cultural anthropology. And in archaeology, I had already mentioned, I did DK Bhattacharya's textbook. I also did his YouTube videos. And on top of this, I did Muniratnam sir's notes were available. So that also I went through and I made notes. And for each age, I had one page note. And for some topics, I had also prepared 20 marks content, that is 2 page worth of content, like Chalcolithic age or Neolithic age. Since there was more content, I prepared it for 20 marks and kept, so that if there is a direct question being asked, I can just replicate what is there in my notes. Then again, when it comes to evolution, primate studies and fossil studies, my primary source of reference was Telugu Academy, as I have mentioned. So the book was having enough content, so I simply had to make a note directly out of that book. And on top of that, I also did some, reading, extra readings like Andhro News. So from news, we'll get more current affairs oriented content for the fossil studies or for evolution. So then I was adding this content into these notes I had already made, but my primary source was Telugu Academy. And 1.1 to 1.3, actually I did not do much. For 1.1, in this book of D.N. Majumdar, Introduction to Social Anthropology, he had briefed about this history of anthropology, and about anthropology, different definitions and where it is situating in social sciences. Those kind of topic he had briefly described in one chapter. So I simply covered that chapter, but I had also covered that entire book as a leisure read. But that was really helpful for me because I was organically able to come up with things that D.N. Majumdar has studied about or spoken about, because the entire book is about what he has studied and what he has understood. So I was able to use his name multiple times in the answers. So for 1.1, again, I made notes from this particular book. So the slight difference is that in this book, there is a scope of anthropology given that is slightly different from what that is commonly available. So then we tend to stand out, and this scope is directly given by D.N. Majumdar himself. So we can quote his name as well. So these are value addition to our answers, and they might slightly stand out from others' answers. So this is one thing I did in that 1.1 region. For 1.2 and 1.3, I did not put much effort. I simply relied on Akshat Jain for 1.2, and then I just did some structuring in my own style, so that if they're asking some question, just the structuring will be different, the content will be pretty much the same. And for 1.3, I was also relying on Telugu Academy, where they had given about these branches of anthropology in detail and all those things. So this is what I did altogether for all the sections of paper 1. And one more thing I wanted to say is, you can interlink different parts of paper 1 itself with each other. For instance, there's this question on adolescence. So that comes under physical anthropology. So everyone will be writing about the biological characteristics, what are the changes in boys and girls during adolescence. So, and people will limit it to there. But what we can do is, we can also write the socio-cultural aspect, and there we can bring the example of Margaret Mead, who has studied coming of age in Samoa. So that is again about adolescence. So you can talk about that as well as a different dimension. So in this way, you can interlink different parts of paper 1 and paper 2 and use it together. The same can be done in this evolution region, how you can apply that physical anthropology content there. Again, what you study in fossil humans, you will get some understanding about the social life of fossil humans from there. Those you can write in the archaeology section. So in this way, you can interlink different sections of paper 1 itself. So this is what I wanted to brief on paper 1, how to make the notes and how to write answers, and how I have covered the entire topics along with the books I have referred. I hope this was useful. Thank you.